Would you stay silent? Or let revenge speak for you? Welcome to the stories on Shattered Vengeance. Step into a world where love turns dangerous, revenge feels inevitable, and every story drags you deeper into the shadows of desire, betrayal, and the human heart. Let's begin today's story. The bank office smelled like leather and lies. Monday afternoon, 2:47 p.m., and I sat in the parking lot watching my sister Lauren walk out of Mountain Trust Financial with a check for $900,000. She was smiling that victory smile she'd perfected over 33 years, the one that said she'd gotten away with something. Behind her, Mom and Dad emerged looking satisfied, planning spreadsheets visible through Dad's open briefcase. Already dividing money from a mortgage on property they didn't own. My phone buzzed. U.S. Forest Service Regional Office. Ms. Hannah Kovach? This is Agent Lisa Brennan, Forest Service Law Enforcement. We've been conducting a routine boundary survey near your property at 4822 Timberline Ridge. During title verification, we discovered multiple conflicting deed registrations for that parcel. Can you clarify your ownership status? I watched Lauren hug Mom on the sidewalk, celebrating her fraudulent mortgage. I'm sole owner. Inherited from my grandfather in 2018. Title recorded with county, surveyed and marked in 2019. That matches our original records. However, we're now seeing 10 additional deed filings for the same property, all dated within the past 6 months. Different names. Different ownership claims. All originating from Lauren Kovach's legal representation. Professional pause. Ms. Kovach, this looks like systematic deed fraud. We're required to report this to federal prosecutors because it involves property adjacent to national forest land. My sister just secured a $900,000 mortgage using fraudulent ownership claims. I felt remarkably calm. She told the bank the wilderness property was shared family asset. Provided fake documentation showing multiple family members with ownership stakes. That mortgage is federal wire fraud if it crossed state lines. And the forged deeds are felonies, each one. Agent Brennan's voice hardened. How fast can you get to our office with your original documentation? 30 minutes. Come now. Bring everything. This just became a federal case. I hung up, started my truck, drove past Lauren, who was still celebrating on the sidewalk, completely unaware that Forest Service boundary surveys had just exposed her entire scheme. The Forest Service office was utilitarian and serious. Agent Brennan was 40-something, looked like she'd spent 20 years catching people who thought federal land was negotiable. She spread documents across the conference table. My grandfather's original deed, my inheritance paperwork, and then 10 forged deeds Lauren had filed over 6 months. This is sophisticated fraud. Brennan pointed to the forgeries. Each deed claims partial ownership. Your parents, 3 cousins, 2 uncles, your grandmother. All supposedly granted fractional interests by your grandfather before his death. Except your grandfather's will, and the probate court explicitly left the entire property to you alone. Lauren's a paralegal. She knows how to file county documents. I studied the forgeries, nearly perfect replicas with altered beneficiary information. She's been planning this for months. And the mortgage company didn't catch it because they did title search showing multiple registered deeds. Made it look like legitimate shared family property. Brennan pulled up banking records. The $900,000 loan was approved based on these fraudulent ownership claims. Your sister represented herself as authorized to mortgage family property, with full consent. She didn't have my consent. I didn't even know about the mortgage until I saw her at the bank today. That's identity theft and wire fraud. The mortgage funds transferred interstate. The lending institution is based in Colorado, property is here in Montana. Federal jurisdiction. Brennan made notes. How much of the money has been spent? I pulled up family group texts. Lauren had been careless, celebrating openly. Dad bought a boat yesterday. $85,000. Mom ordered kitchen renovations. $40,000. Lauren paid off her car and put a deposit on a condo. Maybe $150,000 total. They're planning to distribute the rest this week. Shares, based on the fake ownership percentages. Brennan was already on her phone. I need financial holds on these accounts immediately. She rattled off names and account numbers I'd provided from the family texts. Federal fraud investigation, freeze all assets. She hung up, looked at me. Your family is about to have a very bad day. Good. The FBI arrived at Lauren's condo at 6:47 p.m. I wasn't there. Agent Brennan called me with updates. Lauren was arrested for wire fraud, identity theft, and 10 counts of deed forgery. Federal agents seized her laptop, phone, and boxes of documents showing months of planning. Mom and Dad were arrested at their house at 7:15 p.m. Conspiracy to commit fraud. Laundering proceeds from fraudulent mortgage. The boat was impounded. The kitchen renovation contractors were sent home mid-demolition. 3 cousins, 2 uncles, and my grandmother were interviewed but not arrested. They'd been listed on fake deeds without their knowledge. Lauren had forged their signatures too, apparently. She'd created an entire fictional ownership structure without telling the supposed co-owners they were involved. By 9 p.m. the news had spread through the family network. My phone exploded with calls and texts. I ignored them all except one, from my cousin Beth, whose name appeared on 2 of the forged deeds. Hannah, what the hell is happening? FBI agents just left my house asking about mountain property ownership. I told them I don't own any property. Lauren forged deeds claiming you and 7 other family members have ownership stakes in my mountain home. She used those fake deeds to secure a $900,000 mortgage. Federal agents discovered the fraud during a routine Forest Service boundary survey. Silence. Then, she used my name without telling me. She used everyone's names. Created fake ownership percentages. Told the mortgage company it was shared family property. Collected $900,000 and started distributing it to people who thought they were getting legitimate inheritance shares. Jesus Christ. Beth exhaled slowly. My mom got $80,000 last week. Lauren said it was from selling timber rights. Mom already spent $30,000 paying off credit cards. The FBI is freezing accounts and seizing assets. Anyone who received money from the fraudulent mortgage will have to return it. I felt bad for people like Beth's mom. Innocent recipients who'd trusted Lauren's explanations. The mortgage was fake. The ownership was fake. All of it was fraud. Beth made a sound somewhere between laugh and sob. Lauren's going to prison. Yes. The federal prosecutor moved fast. Lauren was denied bail, flight risk with access to legal document filing systems. Mom and Dad made bail but had everything seized. House, cars, bank accounts. The infamous boat that had been parked in their driveway for exactly 36 hours. The mortgage company filed civil suits demanding return of all funds. The FBI identified 17 family members who'd received money, recovered $640,000 in frozen accounts and seized assets. The remaining $260,000 had been spent and would need to be repaid through installment plans or additional asset liquidation. I met with the prosecutor. A sharp woman named Jennifer Park who specialized in financial fraud. She laid out the charges. 10 counts of deed forgery, wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy, and money laundering. Total potential sentence: 45 years federal prison. Your sister created a sophisticated fraud scheme that would have succeeded if not for routine federal boundary surveying, Jennifer said. She researched title procedures, created convincing forgeries, manipulated family members into accepting fraudulent distributions. This wasn't opportunistic crime. This was calculated, systematic fraud. Will she take a plea deal? Probably. Federal prosecutors win 95% of cases that go to trial. Her attorney knows that. Jennifer closed the file. But even with a plea, she's looking at minimum 8 to 10 years. And everyone who received money, even innocent recipients, will have to repay. The mortgage company has valid claims for recovery. I thought about Beth's mom who'd used $30,000 of fraud money to pay off legitimate debts, now facing demands to repay it. About my uncle who'd bought a used truck. About my grandmother who'd deposited her share into savings. The people who didn't know it was fraud, they'll lose everything. Yes, that's how fraud works. It creates cascading damage. Jennifer's expression softened slightly. I know they're your family. But your sister's crime victimized them too. They're not criminals. They're victims who have to make restitution because they can't keep stolen money, even if they didn't know it was stolen. Fair. Brutal. True. Lauren pled guilty 4 months later. 12 years federal prison, $900,000 in restitution, permanent disbarment from legal practice. Mom and Dad got 3 years probation, joint restitution responsibility, and forfeiture of their house to satisfy civil judgments. The 17 family members who'd received money either returned it voluntarily or had it seized. Some paid back immediately. Others faced wage garnishment and payment plans stretching years into the future. Family relationships imploded. People who'd trusted Lauren's explanations now faced financial ruin because of her fraud. My mountain home remained exactly what it had always been. Wilderness property I'd inherited from Grandpa. 40 acres of forest adjacent to national land. The property Lauren had tried to convert into $900,000 by inventing fake co-owners. The mortgage was voided. The forged deeds were expunged from county records. My sole ownership was reconfirmed with additional security measures to prevent future fraud. I never spoke to Lauren again. She sent letters from prison, mostly justifications about how she'd just wanted to help family access their rightful inheritance, and how Grandpa should have shared the property equally. I returned them unopened. Mom and Dad tried to reconcile. Apologetic emails. Requests to meet. Explanations about how Lauren had convinced them the mortgage was legitimate. I blocked them. They'd seen the fake deeds. They'd participated in spending the money. They'd known it wasn't right and done it anyway. Some family relationships can't survive federal fraud conspiracy charges. 2 years later, I still live in my mountain home part-time. Work remotely as a software engineer. Hike the 40 acres. Maintain the trails Grandpa built. The property is exactly what he intended when he left it to me. Protected wilderness, not liquidated asset. I ran into Beth at a coffee shop in town. Awkward moment, but she approached me. My mom finished her repayment plan last month. 5 years of payments to return the $80,000 Lauren gave her. Beth looked tired. She lost her savings. Had to sell her car. Still doesn't really understand how it was fraud when Lauren had legal documents. I'm sorry. I meant it. Beth's mom had been genuinely innocent. Lauren destroyed a lot of lives. Beth studied her coffee. Not just hers. Everyone who trusted her. Yes. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Beth asked, "Do you ever feel guilty for reporting it?" No. Lauren forged legal documents and secured fraudulent mortgage on my property. I reported a crime. The consequences are hers. I looked at Beth directly. I didn't create the fraud. I just refused to let it continue. She nodded slowly. Fair enough. On quiet evenings now, I sit on my deck watching sunset over the mountains. 40 acres Grandpa protected by leaving it to the one grandchild who'd preserve rather than liquidate it. He knew Lauren would try something. Knew my parents would support her. Knew the family would view wilderness property as wasted asset. So he left it to me. Sole ownership. Clear title. Protected. Lauren mortgaged it anyway. Created 10 forged deeds. Invented fake co-owners. Defrauded a mortgage company for $900,000. But the Forest Service found the forgeries during routine boundary surveying. The closing documents became criminal evidence. And Lauren's sophisticated fraud scheme collapsed into federal charges and 12-year prison sentence. The mountain home is still mine. Still wilderness. Still exactly what Grandpa intended. And that's worth more than any fraudulent mortgage could ever justify destroying.